Join Kids Heart family.
Tia, yesterday in our class, my friend Ben forgot to bring one of his textbooks, and Ted offered to share his textbook with him. Ben promised Ted to help him in learning football after school. But after school, when Ted asked Ben to help as promised, instead of helping, Ben left for his home.
That's bad. One should always stand by their promises.
But Tia, today again Ben forgot his textbook, and when he asked Ted to help, Ted refused.
Tofu. We should be sensitive towards every human being. You know, we should always help people around. Come, I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful princess in the kingdom of a very humble king. The princess was so pampered by her father that she turned out to be a little proud of the fact that she is a princess. Many a times the king asked her to be more humble towards the people around her, because that's the way a princess should be.
I know, my little princess, that you are my pampered child, but you should be a little more empathetic towards other people. Everybody is same. It's just that some are fortunate, some are not.
But the princess just ignored what her father had to say and went out to play with the golden ball that her father had gifted her on her birthday. She loved the ball, but no sooner had she started playing that her ball bounced and went into a pond.
Oh God, my favorite golden ball! I would give anything to get back my favorite ball. Anything!
Hearing the princess cry out loudly, a frog leaped up and sat on a lotus leaf and said,
Princess, I just saw what happened. I will get the golden ball back for you. But you have to promise me something.
How in the world did the slimy frog talk? The princess only wanted her ball back, so she hurriedly said yes.
What is it that you want in return? I want you to take me back to your palace and pamper me. I would eat with you, play with you, and sleep in bed with you.
The princess was horrified at the very idea and had no intention of doing any such thing. She agreed to the condition as she thought the frog would not be able to reach the palace on his own, and she had no intention of taking him along with her. She told him to hurry and get the ball back, and waited with bated breath for her golden ball. The frog jumped into the pond and in no time at all came back with the golden ball. She took the ball from him and ran back to her palace as fast as she could.
Princess, come back! You promised to take me with you. You can't break your promise.
But the princess ignored to his calling and ran as fast as she could. She was relieved when she reached her room and soon forgot all about the frog. At night, while she was having dinner with her father, there was a loud knock on the door.
Open the door, oh princess! It's me, the frog from the pond. You promised to keep me with you. Being a true princess, you should keep up to your promise now.
Who is that, and what does he want?
The princess, being a little scared of her father, told him about the afternoon incidents. And how she broke her promise.
You are a true princess, my love, and you should keep up to your promise, no matter what.
Feeling helpless, the princess opened the door and let the frog enter. He hopped on to the seat next to her and asked her to let him eat from her plate. The frog ate till his tummy was full. But the princess couldn't eat a single bite, thinking about the slimy frog eating from her plate. Then the frog asked her to carry him to her bedroom and let him sleep in her bed. Unwillingly, she picked him up in her hands and went upstairs. The frog jumped on her bed and snuggled cozily in her huge, soft bed. The next morning, the princess got up to find the frog missing from her bed. Happily, she hopped from her bed, thinking that the ordeal was over. But as the night fell, the knock again happened. And again the frog ate from her plate and slept in her bed. Feeling sad about sharing her food and bed, she went to her father and asked him if she could stop now. The king again told her that a promise was a promise and cannot be broken. It was the third night when the frog came in again to eat and sleep in her bed. But the next morning, the princess was astonished to see that the frog was not in her bed. And a handsome young prince was standing next to her bed.
What? Who are you? Where is the slimy frog?
Dear princess, it's me, the frog. A witch cast a spell on me that could be broken only if a princess would let me eat in her plate and sleep in her bed for 3 nights. You broke that spell by keeping your promise, and here I am, standing in front of you. I am the prince from the neighboring country.
Would you like to be my wife? Not able to resist the handsome prince, she said yes, but had something more to say.
Oh, prince, I would love to be your wife. But how would you forgive me for being so rude to you?
She was guilty like hell, but the prince was a humble man. He said,
Oh, my dear princess, I can understand your reasons and I am ready to forgive you.
But you have to promise me that in future you won't judge anybody by the way one looks or the job one does. Everyone is equal, and that's how they should be treated, equally. Saying this, the prince took her in his arms and decided to take her to his kingdom, where they lived happily ever after.
Oh, Tia, you are right. We should always keep our promises and help people in need. Thanks for the lovely moral story.
Come, Tofu, let's go and play some games now.
Look at that man, Tia. He looks so scary. I wouldn't want to be around him.
That is not a nice thing to say, Tofu. Just because he scares you doesn't mean he's not kind and caring. Let me tell you a story of the Beauty and the Beast. The Beauty and the Beast. Belle lived in a village with her father Morris, who was an inventor. One morning, as she was returning from the market, a hunter named Gaston stopped her. Gaston was an arrogant young man. Everybody in the village knew he always got what he wanted. But no one ever dared stand up against him because his father was the village head. The only person who paid no attention to Gaston was Belle. But Gaston was obsessed with her and wanted to marry her.
Belle, let me walk you home.
Oh, Gaston, no, thank you. I can go home myself.
I insist. I have to talk to your father about something important too.
Belle continued walking, ignoring Gaston, who started walking with her. Once home, Belle quickly went inside.
Morris, Morris, come out. I have to talk to you. What is it? It is your lucky day. I am going to marry Belle. You have lost your mind. Go away, Gaston. Belle is never going to marry you.
Just then, there was a loud explosion in Morris's lab, and he took off towards it. Belle also ran towards her father's lab. Seeing that there was no one he could push around, Gaston left.
Papa, are you alright?
I have done it, Belle. My experiment was successful. I am leaving for the fair in the nearby village immediately. You will see, my child. People are going to love this.
And so Morris leapt on his horse Philip and rode off. But as he was crossing the forest, he got lost. After a few hours, Philip and he landed in front of a huge, lonely castle. There was no one in sight, so Morris tied Philip to a pole at the entrance and went inside the castle. It was pitch dark inside. A few candles were lit in the corners.
Hello? Is anyone here? I am lost. Can you help me?
A large shadow came across the wall. As it came into light, Morris saw that it was not a man, but a huge, angry beast with an ugly scar across his face.
How dare you enter my castle? You need help? I will help you. I'm sorry. I will leave immediately.
And Morris started running back the way he had come. But the beast got him and started dragging him. He took him down the staircase and locked him in the dungeon.
Please let me go. Please let me go. You will stay here forever. This dungeon is your world now.
A whole day had passed and Morris hadn't returned. Belle got worried and decided to go to the nearby village to look for her father. But she too got lost in the forest and landed up at the same castle. Philip was still there, tied to the pole. Belle decided to go inside, just in case her father was there.
Hello? Papa? Anybody here?
How dare you enter my castle? Get out right away before I lock you in the dungeon too.
Suddenly, the beast moved out of the shadows and stood in front of Belle. She was terrified of him, but dared not run. Somewhere from far away, she could hear another voice. It was her father.
Please let me go. Let me go, please. Open this door. Let me go, please.
Do you have my father? Can you please let him go?
Hey, what are you saying?
I will stay instead of him. Please let him go.
Hearing this, the beast took Belle's hand and dragged her up the stairs. He led her into a huge room.
So be it. Your father is free, and you shall be my prisoner forever.
And so it was. No matter how much Morris protested, the beast threw Morris out of the castle and into the forest with Philip. When dinner time came, Belle did not join the beast for dinner. Instead, she stayed in her room crying. The beast entered her room and said,
If you are going to stay in this castle, you have to follow its rules. You are expected at dinner. Don't you dare miss it next time.
You are a monster! You didn't even let me see my father one last time! Go away! I hate you!
Seeing Belle heartbroken, the beast felt bad. He pulled out a hand mirror from his coat and gave it to her. In the mirror, she would be able to see whomever she wanted to see at that moment. Belle looked into the mirror and saw her father finally leaving from the castle and riding into the forest. But to her horror, she saw he and Philip had suddenly been attacked by a pack of wolves. She gave out a loud cry and ran downstairs out of the castle gates and towards her father. Soon, she found herself and her father Morris surrounded by ferocious wolves. Just as the wolves were about to attack Belle, a large paw grabbed one of them by the neck and threw it away. The wolves now turned on the beast, who had decided to follow Belle and help her save her father. The beast scared them off, but not before they had bit into his arm and injured Morris too. He put Morris on Philip, who took off riding as soon as his master was secure. The beast tried to walk towards the castle but fainted and fell. He woke up 2 days later to find Belle sitting by his bedside in his room. The wounds on the arm had been bandaged.
You didn't go?
You are awake! I hope you're feeling better. Thank you for saving our lives.
Over the next few days, Belle nursed the beast back to health. As they spent time together, Belle realized that he wasn't as mean as he appeared to be the first day they had met. In turn, the beast learned to change his ways and became gentler and kinder. Soon they became very good friends. One day, Belle asked the beast if she could see her father in the mirror. The beast agreed and gave her the mirror. In the mirror, Belle saw all the villagers storming her house. They thought that Morris had gone mad and wanted to send him to the doctor. Nobody believed him when he kept insisting that Belle had been kept as a prisoner by a beast. Worried about her father, Belle requested if she could go to the village for a day just to save her father. And though the beast knew that she might never return, he agreed.
Go, but take this mirror with you. In case you ever want to see me.
Once Belle reached her house, she stood between her father and the villagers and tried to explain the truth. But the angry mob, led by Gaston, who wanted revenge from Morris and Belle for turning his wedding proposal down, wouldn't listen. Gaston grabbed Belle's hand and tried to get her out of the way. As she struggled to free herself, the beast's mirror fell out of her pocket. In it was the beast, looking right at them all.
Goodness! She's shown the beast the way to the village. We must go and kill him before he comes here.
The angry mob started marching towards the castle with fire torches and swords. They left behind Maurice and Belle locked up in their house. Soon they stormed the castle gates. Gaston went upstairs and challenged the beast to a fight. But the beast had had a change of heart. He did not wish to fight. So he came out of the balcony unarmed and tried to talk to the villagers. But Gaston wouldn't have it. He wanted to kill the beast, and so he attacked him. His sword pierced through the beast's stomach. Shocked, the beast swung his arm to protect himself. Scared, Gaston stepped backwards and fell off the balcony and died. Somehow, Belle had escaped from her house. And reached the balcony just as the beast fell on the floor.
I love you, Belle.
I love you too. Please don't go.
Suddenly, the castle lit up with thousands of candles. As Belle still lay crying by the beast, he turned into a handsome young prince.
Belle, it's me. You freed me from the witch's spell. To break the spell, I had to love and win the love of another. You loved me even though I was a beast. You saved me, Belle. You saved me. It really is you?
As they hugged each other, they saw the rest of the castle and the forest bloom with beautiful trees and flowers. So you see, Tofu, you should never judge people by the way they look.
I'm sorry, Tia. I will always remember this now. Tia, aren't you going to your friend's party?
No, Tofu. Mummy has asked me to stay home with you tonight because she and Papa will be returning home late.
Oh no. I'm sorry, Tia. Because of me, you can't go to your party.
It's okay, Tofu. Sometimes we have to sacrifice things for the ones we love. Just like the Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid. Is it a story? Tell me, Tia, please.
The Little Mermaid. Once upon a time, there was a sea kingdom at the bottom of the sea. The king of the seas had 6 beautiful daughters who were mermaids. They were all very beautiful, but the youngest of them was the prettiest of them all. She had a gentle face, big round eyes, and a voice sweeter than anyone else's in the world. When the little mermaid turned 15 years old, her grandmother called her to her room. "Come, my darling. Today you have turned 15. And from now onwards, you can go to the world above. Just remember, the people above are very different from us. They do not have a beautiful fish tail like us. Instead, they have 2 legs."
Thank you, Grandmother. I have waited for this day for so long. When I return, I will tell you about everything I see above.
That night, the little mermaid went to the surface of the water. The sight of the stars and the cool breeze that touched her face took her breath away. She was just getting used to the feeling when she saw a big ship cross in front of her. Aboard it were many men, and they were celebrating the birthday of the young prince who had just turned 16. The little mermaid was mesmerized with the handsome looks of the prince. She couldn't take her eyes off him as the ship sailed past her. She was so lost in him that she did not notice the storm build up in the sky and the sea begin to rage. The ship had only sailed a little further when the storm shook it up. The sailors tried to stir it to safety, but many men, including the prince, fell into the sea. The little mermaid rushed to him and saved him from drowning. She took him ashore.
Don't worry, you are safe. Open your eyes.
But the prince lay unconscious. The mermaid decided to get help. When she couldn't get any, she came back to where the prince was. She saw him surrounded by many people. A beautiful princess was kneeling by him as others worked to awaken him. The prince opened his eyes, and the little mermaid was relieved that her prince will be saved now.
You saved my life. Thank you.
The prince knew nothing about the little mermaid. He didn't even know that it was she who had actually saved his life. This broke the mermaid's heart. She went back to her father's home. She told her sisters and grandmother what had happened.
Forget him, child. Humans and we are very different. To be with him forever, you will have to get him to love you more than anything else he loves in the world, even more than his own parents. How will that ever happen? Think about it.
But the little mermaid could not forget the handsome prince. Every night she visited the spot where she had laid him after saving his life. One day, she decided to visit the witch in her father's kingdom. Maybe she knew a way that the mermaid could be with the prince.
Yes, there is a way. I can send you to the land above the sea. You will lose your fishtail and have legs. If by the second sunset you can get the prince to love you more than he loves his parents, then you can be with him forever. Otherwise, you will die and become foam in the sea. But in return, you must give me your voice.
But without my voice, how will I make the prince fall in love with me?
You still have your pretty face and eyes. You will also be the most beautiful dancer anyone has ever seen. Now go.
In a flash, the mermaid found herself on the land. Her fishtail turned into human legs. It caused her pain, but she could not even scream because the witch had taken her voice away. Somehow, the mermaid made her way to the prince's castle. There was a big celebration going on there, but the guards would not let the mermaid enter because they didn't know who she was, and she couldn't answer them when they asked her about it. So she was not allowed to enter. Somewhere in the castle, music started playing. Remembering what the witch had said about dancing, Little Mermaid started dancing.
Oh, I have never seen anyone dance so beautifully. Maybe she has come to dance for the royal family in the celebrations. Oh, she is a dancer. Let me take her to the court.
Once the mermaid reached the royal court, she saw that the celebration was for the wedding of the prince. Little Mermaid was heartbroken. She thought the only way of meeting the prince now would be to dance and draw his attention towards her. And so she performed a beautiful dance for the royal family. When the prince saw her, he came up to her.
Hello, young lady. I have seen you in my dreams. Who are you?
In his heart, the prince hoped that she would be the one who had saved him from drowning. He longed to hear the voice that had saved him when he was dying. But no sound came out when the little mermaid tried to reply.
Forgive me. I think I'm confused between you and someone else. But please do join us.
The prince led her to the ship on which the wedding was going to take place. Many people spoke to her, but she could not answer anyone. The princess was especially kind to her and took special care of her.
I know you saved the prince that day. Thank you. Because of you, I have found the love of my life. Please always stay with us.
The little mermaid saw that the princess and the prince loved each other and were very happy together. She decided not to pursue the prince anymore. He belonged to another woman. Although her heart ached to let him go, she happily attended the wedding and all the celebrations that went on throughout the next day. Soon it was evening. The second sunset was about to happen. The little mermaid knew she would die and become foam on the sea. As she stood there looking at the prince and his princess, she heard some voices behind her. She turned around to see. Her sisters were there in the water. But all of them had very short hair now, instead of the long flowing locks they used to have earlier.
Sisters, what are you doing here?
We have come to save you. We went to the witch. In exchange of our hair, she gave us this knife. If you stab the prince through his heart before sunset, you can be saved. Handing the knife to the youngest sister, all the other sisters vanished under the water once again. The little mermaid stood there holding the knife to her heart. She looked at the newlyweds once again. She knew what she had to do. At the sunset, she tossed the knife into the sea.
Goodbye, my love.
And so, for the happiness of her beloved prince, the little mermaid sacrificed her own life and joined the sea as foam.
Tia, this is such a beautiful story. It shows how much the little mermaid loved the prince. Thank you for not going to the party and staying with me.
That's because I love you, my little brother.
I love you too, my darling sister Tia. Tia, I think we will take long to reach. Can you please tell me some interesting story?
Why not, Tofu? Let me tell you a story about a princess and a bad fairy. Sleeping Beauty. A long time ago, there lived a king and a queen. They wished for a child for a very long time. After a long wait, their wish came true. A beautiful girl was born to the king and queen. The king announced to his people,
We are blessed with a baby princess, and her name is Sunshine.
"Hooray!" said the people. As the baby girl turned 1, celebrations began all around. A big party had to be planned.
We must invite all the fairies.
Yes, we must call them all. But not the black fairy. She is mean. She is bad.
The party was a lot of fun. The baby princess looked lovely. All fairies brought with them some precious gifts and blessed the little princess to be a clever and kind girl. Suddenly, the castle was filled with blue smoke and nobody could see anything. As soon as the blue smoke settled, King and Queen were shocked to see the black fairy. She saw that a beautiful celebration was organized and everyone from the kingdom was invited for the feast, including all fairies. She became very angry for not being invited, and that's why she cursed the baby princess.
On your 16th birthday, before the sun sets, you'll prick on a spindle and die. She screamed in anger and vanished.
Everybody was shocked. Suddenly, a young fairy who had not yet given her blessings to the little princess said,
I can't take away the black fairy's curse, but I'll definitely try to help. When the princess pricks herself, she won't die. Instead, she'll go into a deep sleep and shall only awaken with a kiss from a prince who loves her.
After this, the king ordered to destroy all spindles and needles from the kingdom. Soon, there were no sharp things in the castle. Except for one, they didn't check in the tower. As years passed by, the baby grew under supervision of fairies and turned out to be a very beautiful young girl. When she turned 16, while roaming in the castle one day, she saw a magical light ball. And followed the light ball. Which took her to the top of the tower in the castle. Inside, there was an old woman bent over a spinning wheel.
Come here. You must try spinning this wheel.
Oh, what is this? Please let me do it as well. I have never tried this.
But the minute she touched the needle of the spindle, she fell to the ground. Black Fairy's curse had come true. Old woman, who was actually the black fairy, laughed and laughed and then disappeared. The king, who remembered the words of the last fairy, made her daughter, the princess, to lie in a room for many years to come. Fairies saw the princess sleeping, and everyone thought that she was extremely beautiful. They all said at once, "Sleeping Beauty." Soon, this name became popular in town, and everyone started to mention Princess as the Sleeping Beauty. The whole kingdom was sad. Fairies noticed this and decided,
Let the whole kingdom fall asleep, so when the princess wakes up by her prince, she wouldn't be alone.
everyone in the kingdom fell asleep. The king, the queen, the servants, soldiers, everyone in town fell asleep. Even all the animals fell asleep. Everything in the kingdom stopped. Soon, a thick forest grew around the castle and hid it. About hundreds of years later, a handsome prince was riding through the forest. He saw the strange-looking castle. The accompanying soldiers told the prince that this is the castle of the Sleeping Beauty. He had heard stories of Sleeping Beauty and started to explore it. He was surprised to see everybody in the castle sleeping. When he entered more, he saw even the king and queen were sleeping. He looked around and saw one big pink door. He tried to open the door, but it was difficult to open as it was closed for so many years. After trying hard, he managed to open the door, and to his surprise, he found Sleeping Beauty lying on a beautiful bed in that room. The moment he saw her, he just fell in love with her.
I really want to know who this beautiful girl is. She looks so gentle and peaceful, he said. He leaned down and kissed her. Instantly, the kiss lifted the spell and the princess woke up. The king, queen, and all the people and animals in the kingdom were awake again. The kingdom was full of joy, and there were celebrations all around. The prince and the princess soon got married and lived happily ever after.
Wow! It means no matter if bad people think bad for you, there are always some well-wishers to help you out. Good night, Tia.
Good night, Tofu. Once upon a time, there lived a lonely couple who only wished to have a child. They lived in a little house all on their own. At the back of the house, there was a small little window from which a splendid garden could be seen. This garden was full of very beautiful flowers and herbs. No one dared to enter the garden as it belonged to a witch named Dame Gothel. One day, the woman saw a plant called rampion, which is used to make salads.
Dear husband, I have a strong desire to have a salad made out of that plant.
Oh, but that belongs to the wicked witch.
Oh, please do something. I really want to eat those rampions.
Okay, dear, I will try to get it for you.
At midnight, the husband climbed the wall into the garden of the witch and started taking some rampions. The man took the rampion and his wife made a salad out of it and ate it. But the very same night, there was a knock on the door and the man knew something was wrong.
How dare you, human! Come into my garden and steal my rampions like a thief. You will suffer for it.
Oh, please forgive me. My wife saw your rampions from the window and she wanted it so bad that I could not say no to her.
Oh, if that's the truth, then I will let you have as many rampions as your wife wants, but only on one condition.
What is that condition?
You must give me the child which your wife will bring into this world.
The man, in his terror, consented to everything. As time passed by, the couple gave birth to a beautiful little baby girl. But that very same night, the witch came to their door and took away the baby girl, leaving the poor parents in complete sorrow.
You are such a beautiful looking girl. I will name you Rapunzel and take care of you. Ha 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 ha.
The witch kept her locked in a tower with no doors and stairs, but just a small little window. As the time passed by, Rapunzel grew into a beautiful girl with very long golden locks. But her beauty went in vain because the cruel witch never allowed her to go anywhere. Sad Rapunzel just used to stand at the little window and sing sad songs. When the witch had to visit Rapunzel, she used to ask Rapunzel to let down her hair.
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me.
One day, when Rapunzel was standing at the window singing sad songs,
La la la.
a very handsome prince was passing by. He stopped and looked here and there to see where this beautiful voice was coming from.
La la la.
Oh, what a beautiful song! Who is singing so beautifully?
The prince noticed the beautiful voice coming from the tower. He wanted to climb the tower and looked for the door, but could not find one. He went back home in dismay. But Rapunzel's singing had touched his heart so much that every day he started going to the forest to listen to Rapunzel's songs. One day, he was standing behind the tree when he saw the witch coming. And he heard what she said.
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me.
Then Rapunzel let down her long, beautiful hair. And the witch climbed up the tower.
Oh, that's the way to climb up to the tower. I shall do the same.
The next day, when it began to grow dark, he went to the tower.
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let your hair down to me.
Immediately the hair fell down and the prince climbed up.
Oh, who are you?
Oh Lord, you are the most beautiful maiden that I have ever seen in my life. I have lost my heart to you. Will you marry me? Will you be my wife and live with me in my kingdom?
Oh, my prince, I wish that was possible. But the witch won't let me go out of this tower. And if she comes to know about you, she will kill you.
I don't care. You are coming with me now. Come on, let's go.
Oh, prince, I am ready to go away with you. But I do not know how to get down. If I let down my hair, then how will I get down?
You are right.
You have to go now. The witch will come soon.
Yes, don't worry, Rapunzel. I will think of something and come back tomorrow.
That moment, when the prince was climbing down the tower, the witch saw him.
Oh, so he wants to take Rapunzel away. They both will have to pay for this.
The witch climbed the tower after asking Rapunzel to let down her hair.
You treacherous girl! How could you even think of betraying me? You shall pay for this.
The witch took a big pair of scissors and chopped off her long, beautiful tresses. Rapunzel was left all alone in the desert by the witch to live in grief and misery. Meanwhile, the prince returned the next evening to take Rapunzel away.
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair.
The wicked witch let down the long braid that she had chopped off from Rapunzel's hair, and the prince climbed the tower without knowing what danger was awaiting him. When the prince was about to enter the window, the wicked witch chopped off the braid just to see the prince fall off the tower into the thorny bushes under the tower. The prince started bleeding from his eyes as the thorns blinded him completely. The witch cast a spell on the prince. and he wandered in woods around the world without any sight and survived in poor conditions. Meanwhile, the prince roamed about in misery for 2 years, and finally he got to the desert where Rapunzel was left by the witch.
La la la.
He suddenly heard the beautiful, sad voice of his beloved and started shouting in excitement.
That voice! That voice! Is it you, Rapunzel? Is it really you?
He went towards it, and when he approached, Rapunzel said,
Oh, Prince, you finally found me. I missed you so much. I am so happy to see you that I can't stop crying.
2 of her tears fell on his eyes and they grew clear again, and he could see with them as before.
I can see again. Oh, my sweet Rapunzel, what have they done to us? Let's go back to my kingdom.
He took her to his kingdom. After a year, Rapunzel gave birth to a pretty little baby girl who looked just like her, and they lived happily ever after. Get up, Tofu, or you'll get late for school. Get up, Tofu. Tia, you? What happened? That was... Yeah, I know. That was me in your dream. Now get up and get ready.
For your favorite rhymes, stories, and more, join Kids Hut family. Subscribe here.